Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
I'm taking a look at our potential for showers and thunderstorms later this afternoon. We may have an even better chance later in the week. We'll go over how much rain we could see.
The first hurricane of the Atlantic season to make landfall in the U.S. is proving deadly. We're tracking the path of what's now Tropical Storm Beryl.
And blaring sirens at the Harris nuclear plant unnerved some people in our viewing area. Officials say there was no emergency. We're digging into what caused the alarms to go off. And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we are following some breaking news. A car has gone into a building here. We will have the latest coming up.
Scattered storms are possible this afternoon and for much of the rest of our week. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at who will likely see storms today. Elizabeth.
We can see storms pop up in any part of the viewing area. We do have a few of those up near Virginia and a few of those, say, south and east of our area right now. Nothing popping up currently, but just a little while ago, say 2 hours ago, there were a few little cells that were trying to pop up. We'll roll through Futurecast, and again, you can see it's fairly quiet here at noon, but by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we see a few isolated showers and storms pop up. There's 5 o'clock, and we'll see that dissipating most likely excuse me, after sunset. And then we'll see a repeat of that again for Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, it's a different scenario with a better chance of some heavier rain. And we'll talk more about that coming up in just a little while. This afternoon, we have a 40% chance of rain up until about 5 o'clock. And then it tapers off, as I mentioned, to after sunset. We do have the potential to have some significant rain by the end of the week. I'll show you how much coming up.
And we continue to track Beryl, now a tropical storm, as it continues to make its way inland in Texas. It was a Category 1, and now it has lashed the coast of Texas. 5 a.m. local time is when it made landfall. It's the earliest hurricane to hit Texas in more than 40 years. So far, at least one death is blamed on the storm. A man was riding out the storm in his home with his family when an oak tree fell on the house. Debris landed on that man, killing him. Michelle McConaughey is in the WRAL Live Center with a look at some of the damage.
Yeah, Jeff, Beryl has caused some significant damage. Take a look at this tweet here. This is from X. The Spring Fire Department, which is in the greater Houston area, posted these photos just to give you an idea of what they're dealing with. They say they're responding to serious accidents, including electrical, transformer fires, trees on homes, trees on cars. The storm knocked out power for more than 1.8 million people in Texas right now. Outages are most extensive in the Houston area and also those coastal counties. They say they have no timeline on when they will restore this power. They say they have to wait until it is safe to do so. The National Hurricane Center has also said that up to 10 inches of rain could fall in some places, and some isolated areas of the state may receive as much as 15 inches of rain. No need for alarm. That's a message from Duke Energy and Wake County officials after sirens at Duke Energy's Harris nuclear plant accidentally went off this morning. Concerned viewers reached out to us for answers, so we sent WRAL's Chelsea Donovan in search of clarification. Chelsea, what were you able to learn?
Yeah, I know many folks out there got a public safety alert text message on their phone about 8:30. I know I did, and it alerted you to a siren activation here at the Harris nuclear power plant. But county officials and Duke Energy quickly stated that message. There was no emergency, as you mentioned, though. However, many residents say this alert actually came close to an hour after those sirens went off. Now, this is that text message many of you may have received stating there was no protective actions that needed to be taken. When we spoke to Duke Energy this morning, they said the sirens went off inadvertently and it was a false alarm. They told me the plant is operating as normal, but now they're working with emergency management officials in both Wake and Chatham counties to try to drill down to exactly how this may have happened.
We're not sure yet. We are investigating. As I said, obviously this is not anything that anyone wanted to wake up to or hear first thing Monday morning after a holiday weekend, but we are investigating to figure out exactly what triggered the siren activation.
Now, the power plant here was actually working to test their sirens on Wednesday. That is still the plan, according to officials. We're still waiting for more information from Wake and Chatham counties, as well as Duke Energy, and we'll be speaking with residents here in the area. Obviously, a lot of cause for alarm this morning. We're live in Wake County. Chelsea Donovan, back to you.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, I want to take you back out to that scene in Raleigh on Fayetteville Road. You see this car right here. It went right into this Wake Med Urgent Care building. This is on Fayetteville Road. The cross street is Pine Winds Drive. That is what is across the street. There is a Murphy USA gas station right next door. That's where all of the first responders have parked. But you can see they're working to get this car out of the building. The tow truck is there. Right now, we don't know if anybody was hurt. We don't know how many people were involved in this, how many people were in that car, if anybody was inside that building at the time, anyone in that room that you're looking at. But it seems as if they crashed right through that sign and right through that building. They are working to get this car out right now. There are dozens of first responders on the scene. We are working to gather more information for you. As soon as we find out if anybody was hurt in this, how many people were involved, we'll tell you in the Live Center.
Scary moments there in Raleigh. Michelle, thanks. A man is in jail after leading deputies on a chase in a stolen car. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office says a deputy tried to stop a stolen car in the area of Grove and B Street. The driver didn't stop, leading deputies on a chase. The chase ended in Sampson County when the driver, Michael Manis, crashed the car. Manis was charged with driving while impaired. Deputies say more charges are coming. He's behind bars on no bond and scheduled to appear in court at 2:30.
More House Democrats are calling for President Joe Biden to step aside after his dismal debate performance. Some are now discussing whether Vice President Kamala Harris should lead the ticket. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez reports.
The pressure on President Biden intensifying as Democrats on Capitol Hill grow increasingly anxious about his debate performance. At least 4 more House Democrats now say they believe the president should leave the race, bringing the total to 9. The president defiant, campaigning in battleground Pennsylvania and joking about his age.
Folks, I know with every fiber of my being, I know I won't look like I'm 40 years old, but I've been around a little bit.
The 4 lawmakers who hold positions on key committees made the comments during a virtual meeting held by House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. Multiple people on the call tell NBC News. The Biden campaign points out that other lawmakers, including some from the Congressional Black Caucus, are forcefully defending the president.
We shouldn't be spending time talking about that. We should be spending time talking about the threat that Donald Trump poses.
High-ranking Senator Mark Warner is expected to discuss President Biden's future with his colleagues tomorrow. But in an exclusive interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos that aired Friday, the president saying nothing short of divine intervention would make him step aside.
If the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'd get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
Now he and his running mate on offense. Speaking at the Essence Festival in New Orleans, Vice President Kamala Harris blasted former President Trump.
You have the former president who is running to become president again, who has openly talked about his admiration of dictators and his intention to be a dictator on day one.
Some Democrats now wondering whether the vice president should lead the ticket.
Do you think she's a stronger candidate to take on Donald Trump?
I think the vice president would be a phenomenal president. I think she has the experience, the judgment, the leadership ability to be an extraordinary president.
Could she win overwhelmingly, Congressman?
I think she very well could win overwhelmingly.
That's Gabe Gutierrez reporting. First Lady Joe Biden, meantime, is in Wilmington right now, where she is speaking at a political event. She is also making stops in Florida and Georgia today.
Summer break is over for more than 42,000 Wake County school students. Today was first day of the new school year for students on the year-round calendar. WRAL's Laura Levine visited one of Wake County's newest public schools and learned about new safety measures in place this year.
Woods Creek Elementary School is welcoming students for the very first time today. With a fresh new school year comes a few new changes, like parents getting text messages and emails about any bus delays.
Good morning.
The day began here with big hugs and little legs hopping off the bus.
The beginning, we want to make sure we get all the routines in place and make sure our families and students feel welcomed and that this is their home because they're coming from different schools.
The new school building in Holly Springs was built to help with growth across Wake County. The principal says the school can take in 900 students, but they're starting off with 400.
We know that there's a community growing right across the street from us, so it's going to be changing throughout the course of the year. So it's kind of seeing as new houses are going up and families are coming in.
The district has hired about 130 drivers since last July. The new bus notification system aims to help be more transparent about issues in real time.
So we have 271 routes for our year-round schools. They all have drivers.
Superintendent Robert Taylor tells me his main priorities for this year are similar to his first year on the job.
Making sure students are safe when they come to school and they have a great learning environment.
This year, Wake schools will begin using the Say Something Anonymous tip line. Students can report a variety of different issues they see on campus.
I know that anytime we know about things that happen in the school, it usually comes from students. So this is an opportunity for them to be able to share and do it anonymously.
And Superintendent Robert Taylor, he encourages parents and caregivers to be more involved with their students. And if you feel like the district isn't doing enough, to please reach out so that they continue to find more solutions. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Holly Springs.
Wake County parents will have a new way to get updates on bus routes. Laura touched on this, but here's more information about it. The school system is rolling out this new bus delay notification system. Parents of students who ride the bus can get notifications through email or text. You do have to sign up via School Messenger, and you can find a link on the district's website. You can also check for bus delays on the Here Comes the Bus app.
It's very handy. You have a chance to snag some great deals on kids' toys, clothing, and much more in Raleigh this week with the Kids Exchange Consignment Sale. It's happening at the Jim Graham and Expo buildings at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. The consignment sale is free to enter and will be open until next Monday. Doors open 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. daily. You can find out more on WRAL.com.
Next at noon, Boeing has agreed to plead guilty to a criminal fraud charge tied to 2 deadly 737 MAX crashes. Reaction from the surviving family members' side.
Also, hot under the collar, the effects of heat on our mood and the best way to combat it.
Plus, a TV series being filmed on UNC Chapel Hill's campus. What that means for people in that area today.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we have new numbers in on North Carolina's mobile sports betting. We're learning this afternoon that the betting revenue for June fell to its lowest level since legalized betting started back in March. Now, the dip in bets is expected at the sports calendars without meaningful NFL football and also basketball as well. Still, sports bettors, they wager nearly $400 million in paid wagers and also promotional bets in June. Since mid-March, more than $2 billion in bets have been placed. The state has collected more than $49 million in taxes so far.
Michelle, thanks. Boeing will plead guilty to a criminal fraud charge for 2 crashes involving its 737 MAX planes. Prosecutors say Boeing violated a 2021 settlement that shielded it from prosecution. NBC's Tom Costello has reaction to the agreement reached with the DOJ.
More than 5 years after 2 fatal MAX 8 crashes overseas killed 346 people, this morning Boeing has agreed to plead guilty to a single felony charge related to the crashes. That charge, conspiring to defraud the federal government. Boeing confirmed overnight it had reached the plea deal with the Justice Department. The deal already, though, drawing reaction.
Victim families feel like Boeing is getting off easy.
Court documents indicate Boeing would pay an additional $235 million fine and be required to invest more than $455 million in compliance and safety programs. What the plea deal does not demand is legal accountability for the many lives lost. A faulty flight control system called MCAS was implicated in both deadly crashes. A multi-billion-dollar settlement in 2021 allowed Boeing to avoid prosecution, but last month prosecutors prosecutors accused the company of breaching that agreement. Overnight, pushback came swiftly from the victims' families who had chanted shame at the CEO, and their lawyers blasted what they call a sweetheart deal.
346 people died in those two crashes. Therefore, a plea to manslaughter would be more fitting.
Boeing has come under increased scrutiny following a series of mishaps, including a door panel that blew off an Alaska Airlines MAX 9 flight mid-flight. For its part, Boeing has committed to changes from the boardroom to the assembly line.
We have tried to look at literally everything we do to make certain that that can never happen again.
But those promises ring hollow for the grieving relatives who are calling for even more action.
I think that when people are not held accountable, you're setting a standard of what you can get away with.
That was Tom Costello reporting. Boeing recently announced a deal to acquire Spirit Aerosystems, which makes the fuselage for the MAX, in a bid to gain more control over its supply chain. The current CEO, Dave Calhoun, plans to step down from his job at the end of the year.
You ever notice you feel more anxious or stressed when it gets really hot outside? You're not alone. Our bodies have to work harder to keep us cool, and that can cause the release of cortisol. That is our body's main stress hormone. The heat can also disrupt our sleep, which can make us more irritable. The best way to combat these issues is by drinking plenty of water and eating foods with high water content, like cantaloupe, strawberries, watermelon, and grapes. All fun fruits to eat, I think.
Yeah. The key, just try to stay indoors in air conditioning, right?
It has
and
been
don't overdo
hard.
it in the heat.
The last week we've had, it's been hard to stop sweating outside. Elizabeth Carter in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, though, with another point of concern, a massive hurricane that hit the coast this morning in the Gulf.
Yes, as we said earlier in the newscast, it made landfall along the coast here in Texas at about 5 a.m. It is moving fairly quickly and starting to spread some rain past Texas and on up into parts of the Midwest. And so we'll take a look here. Tropical storm Beryl moving northeast at 13 miles per hour, still has really strong winds at 70 miles per hour. So even inland over Houston, those are really strong winds. So as it moves on to the north, by 8 o'clock, it's likely to be down to 45 mile per hour winds. And then finally by tomorrow morning, 35. And then it'll continue to move on to the north and east. But notice that it stays well to our west. It's going to move right up the Mississippi Valley. So we don't really get any rain from this system, but it will dump a good bit of rain. And coming up in just a little while, I'm going to show you the path of the storm in terms of the rainfall and then where our rainfall will come from by the end of the week. Right now, we're just looking at the afternoon pop-up thunderstorms. Nothing really popping just yet, but we are close to seeing that happen across our area. Once we get through the next hour to two, I would say even by 1 o'clock this afternoon, we should begin to see some of these cells popping across our area. You can see at 5 o'clock some isolated storms. A few of those may produce some brief heavy rain. Keep in mind that a lot of people will not see these storms today, tomorrow, or Wednesday. But by Thursday and Friday, we should have a good chance of more people, if not everyone, seeing some rain, at least Thursday or Friday. Here's a live look at the airport right now. We've had a good bit of cloud cover today. That's certainly helpful in keeping our temperatures from climbing as fast, but it is 89 degrees. We have a fairly light wind southwest at around 9 miles per hour, but it's just muggy out there. It doesn't feel comfortable. I love our weather watcher from Charles Rinsich there in Raleigh. Got the rainbow from yesterday. It was nice to see all that rain. Go to WRAL.com, search weather watchers, and send us some photos. We would love to see them and put them on TV. 92 in Raleigh, 91 Durham, and 94 in Fayetteville. Of course, we will have a heat index to go along with that because our dew point's sitting at 74, and that is high. Our muggy meter is going to stay high all the way through the week. And so this afternoon, it'll feel more like 98, maybe as hot as 106 Tuesday and 104 on Wednesday. That puts us closer to the potential for a heat advisory, and it puts us at a major heat risk, especially for Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll let you know if the Weather Service issues a heat advisory. Looking forward to some cooler temperatures Thursday and Friday with that better chance for rain. And again, I'll show you how much rain we could see from Beryl and then how much we'll see here and how much help it may be for our drought situation. Coming up.
If you haven't seen your Wake County property tax bill yet, get ready for an increase. Coming up at 4, we're looking at how much bills are increasing and how homeowners are handling the higher costs.
Plus, a DOT contractor is sued for racism. The agency investigated and found it happened. Tonight at 6, WRAL investigates why nothing's happened to the company more than a year later. Plus, Well, still ahead this noon, you've probably heard it's not good to do your grocery shopping when you're hungry because you'll spend more money. Straight ahead, advice for everything from when to shop for clothing and when to hire contractors.
The number of air travel complaints surged last year. The change the U.S. Department of Transportation hopes will improve oversight of the airline industry.
The number of air travel complaints surged in 2023. The U.S. Department of Transportation says it received nearly 97,000 submissions last year. The majority were complaints over delays, cancellations, and foreign airlines. There were also a number of grievances filed for disability access and racial discrimination. The DOT plans to use the updated information in the complaint system to enhance customer experience and give the agency more oversight over the industry.
Many people are looking for ways to save money these days. AARP released its annual list of 99 great ways to save. It details everything from the best time to shop for food, as well as ways to save on cell phones. The editor suggests you consider buying refurbished electronics, like cell phones, can get a discount on that. Typically, resellers offer a warranty to back up a used cell phone, and that can save you hundreds of dollars. As for home improvement projects, he says, put them off until winter.
It's better to wait because then the contractors are really looking for work at that time. So not only will they give you their full attention, but you might also just get a savings as a result.
Neighbors can also save by hiring the same gardener. That's because the company can service several homes at one time, and they might offer you a discount for that.
Stay off the roads is the message from officials in Texas. First responders across the state are actively rescuing people trapped in cars and homes after Tropical Storm Beryl carved a path across that part of the state. An update on conditions after the break.
Plus, not everything you read on social media is true. Doctors are issuing a new warning about the dangers of misinformation regarding sunscreen. First, here's a look at the winning North Carolina Education Lottery numbers. Beryl is now a tropical storm. It made landfall at 5 a.m. as a Cat 1 hurricane in Texas, bringing heavy rain and leaving a trail of destruction. Here's the latest. At least 2 people are dead. Just moments ago, we learned that a 74-year-old woman was killed by a tree that crashed through the roof of her home. And earlier this morning, a 53-year-old man also died when a tree crashed through his home. More than 1 million homes and businesses are without power in Houston area alone, and more than 1,000 flights have been canceled across airports in Houston. The Weather Service office in Houston recorded an 81-mile-per-hour wind gust at high elevation in the city, prompting warnings for those in high-rise apartment buildings to stay away from windows.
North Carolina-based nonprofit Samaritan's Purse is helping parts of the Caribbean hardest hit by Hurricane Beryl. Yesterday, the organization launched its 3rd emergency relief flight to the Caribbean in less than a week's time. The flight carried essential materials like tarps and hygiene kits, which are crucial for families grappling with the storm's aftermath. We're told there are crews in 3 island nations in the Caribbean.
We're in contact throughout the day with all of our teams. So we have over 60 disaster response staff in the area, down in the region.
Samaritan's Purse has grown into a nearly $1 billion relief organization with more than 2,700 disaster responders and a growing private air force.
Happening now, First Lady Jill Biden is stumping for her husband at an event in Wilmington. It's the latest election year blitz through North Carolina. And it comes as President Biden faces calls to step aside in the 2024 race. WRAL's Eric Miller joins us now with more. And Eric, what did the First Lady have to say about those calls for her husband to step aside?
Oh, Renee, the First Lady didn't directly address those critics, simply saying, quote, Joe has made it clear that he's all in. She also stressed ties her and her husband have to the military, including through her son, and the accomplishments she says her husband has made, including expanding benefits for veterans and their families. First Lady Biden arrived in Wilmington around 11:30, and it'll be a quick stop here in North Carolina. She's also set to speak at campaign events in Columbus, Georgia, and Tampa, Florida today as well. This blitz come across the South comes as her husband does face those calls to step aside and let another Democrat step up and take the party's nomination for president. Joe Biden, of course, has said he's not going anywhere, a message he's hammered home, most recently at a rally on Friday and on social media over the weekend. Of course, Jill Biden also won't be the only campaign surrogate this week to make a stop in North Carolina. Vice President Kamala Harris is going to visit Greensboro on Thursday.
Filming is happening right now for the TV series The Summer I Turned Pretty. It's happening on UNC Chapel Hill's campus. You see the Franklin Street intersection right here live. That could affect folks who are traveling around that area today. And WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains which roads will be closed in Chapel Hill.
Most of the filming this week will happen here at McCorkle Place on UNC's campus. Now, some fans of the show, you may be able to recognize actor Christopher Briney, who plays Conrad Fisher. He's there filming on Franklin Street. Crews are filming season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty that's set to premiere next summer. The main characters in the series are about to enter college, which explains why they're filming at UNC. And something interesting to note, the show's creator, Jenny Han, is a UNC alum. Roads will be closed in Chapel Hill today for filming. These are a list of the roads that will be impacted. Only part of East Cameron Avenue is expected to be closed tomorrow. Traffic will be detoured and some parking lots on campus will be closed. Filming is set to wrap up by the end of the week. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Chapel Hill.
Tonight, a Wake County road is expected to close as part of the Complete 540 project. Westlake Road in Cary between Jamison Park Drive and Langston Circle is scheduled to close tonight from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Drivers are encouraged to avoid that area if possible. You can use 1010, Bells Lake, and Optimist Farm roads as detours. The closure is dependent on weather.
Medical experts are warning about a wave of misinformation about sunscreen, with some social media posts even discouraging people from using sunscreen.
Dermatologists say sunscreen is a vital tool for protecting against skin cancer. NBC's Ann Thompson on what you need to know.
Just in time for the dog days of summer, a wave of misinformation about sunscreen flooding some social media sites.
The sun does not cause skin cancer.
I think sunscreen causes skin cancer.
Sunscreen is a scam.
As a teenage lifeguard, Jessica Jordan says sunscreen was not a priority.
When I was younger, I didn't wear sunscreen. I was in the sun 24/7.
In her late 30s, she says she paid the price.
I have basal cell carcinoma. There's so much skin damage that it cannot be undone.
That's what dermatologists like Jennifer Stein want people to avoid.
Damage can accumulate in your skin, which eventually could cause skin cancer and definitely ages the skin, gives you brown spots and wrinkles.
Skin cancer is the most common form of cancer in the U.S., with 9,500 people diagnosed every day. The most serious, melanoma, is expected to kill some 8,000 people this year. Sunscreen can protect you. There are two kinds, chemical and mineral. In chemical sunscreens, UV-absorbing ingredients, oxybenzone and octinoxate, can have toxic effects on marine life. Sunscreens with those ingredients are banned in Hawaii, Key West, and the U.S. Virgin Islands.
If those chemicals are a danger to marine life, are they dangerous to humans?
Right now, we don't know. There's a question mark. So if you're not sure, you can just go with the physical sunscreens for now.
Those are the mineral sunscreens with zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. Doctors say you should use a water-resistant broad-spectrum sunscreen with an SPF of at least 30 and apply it every 2 hours. Prevention to make sure your fun in the sun is safe. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
The risk of danger has never stopped this annual tradition. How many people were injured in the first day of this year's running of the bulls in Spain?
Keep up with WRAL News on the go with the WRAL News app. Get the latest news headlines and alerts, watch live streams, and access on-demand videos. That's coverage you can count on. NASCAR shows off its first electric race car, and beware of job scammers. We'll tell you why employment scams are on the rise. Those are among today's business headlines with Maribel Aber.
Job scams are surging as criminals make more use of artificial intelligence. So AI allows scammers to produce job listings that seem more legitimate, and thieves are posing as recruiters and posting fake job listings. It's all an effort to get access to personal information from unsuspecting job seekers. Reports of employment scams soared 118% last year. That's according to the Identity Theft Resource Center. Another reason for the increase, remote work has people feeling more comfortable with being interviewed digitally rather than in person. Micro weddings are growing in popularity. The small family and friends events are a way to beat the high cost of having a full-blown wedding celebration. As CNBC says, the micro weddings usually have a guest list of 50 people or fewer. Their popularity comes as inflation has driven up overall wedding costs. The average price tag for a wedding ceremony and reception last year was $35,000, according to the Knot. That was up $5,000 from 2022. NASCAR has rolled out a prototype of an electric vehicle. The car has 3 electric motors, 1 in the front and 2 in the back. It was developed with Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota and can produce more than 1,300 horsepower. The EV race car is part of NASCAR's efforts to eventually decarbonize its operations and cut its carbon footprint. But NASCAR has no plans to drop the use of the traditional combustion engine in its racing vehicles. And those are your business headlines. I'm Maribel Aber at the NASDAQ Market Site.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, a man is in the hospital after he crashed his car into the Plan B bar in Smithfield. We actually have video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. Take a look at this. Police tell us that the car swerved off of West Market Street in Smithfield and went right into the Plan B bar. The driver was then trapped in his vehicle, that black truck there that you see. He was quickly taken out and taken to an area hospital. The building suffered some severe damage, as you can see in this video. It was condemned by the county building inspector. The owner was inside the building at the time of the crash. He told WRAL that he will reopen as soon as possible, but he is still assessing the situation.
Michelle, thanks. Olympic athletes rely on 3 things to reach their peak performance: practice, rest, and diet. How chefs are creating green plates in Paris to give them the confidence to compete. And she's been called the disruptive force of the Chicago sky for her rebounding skills. The new record Angel Reese has claimed midway through the regular season.
The Olympic and Paralympic Games in Paris will be preparing to serve more than 13 million meals for athletes and fans. The Athletes Village alone will prepare 40,000 meals every day. NBC climate reporter Chase Kane shows us how Paris 2024 is cooking up climate change in the kitchen.
The scenery changes quickly as you drive out of Paris, and it's here, the French countryside, which holds a big key to these Olympics quite literally going green. We met the president of Paris 2024 and Olympic gold medalist at a potato farm, talking about meals for the Summer Games. That's because, according to the UN, 1/3 of global emissions can be linked to food.
And that's why we took into considerations all the main aspects of the project where we have a huge contribution. So we decided to develop the vegetable part of those meals to reduce the carbon footprint. We decided to have local food also served.
Sourcing 80% of all meals for athletes, staff, and fans from within France.
Getting the food from these farms to the Olympics is another important piece of keeping emissions low. About 1/4 of the farms are within 150 miles of Paris, but no matter how far away they are, all of the food is going to be delivered to the games using electric or green hydrogen trucks, all clean energy vehicles.
Paris 2024 worked with athletes and French chefs to create more than 500 recipes for the games, and 60% of them are entirely plant-based, which drastically reduces their carbon footprint.
How do you get this to have a lasting impact once the Olympics are over?
I think it all comes down to sharing knowledge, sharing data, but you have to do a lot of communication. You have to take the people by the hands, your own staff, your own volunteers, the public, general public, and explain them. The vegan, the vegetarian offer can be a really pleasant one, a really rich one.
That was Chase Kane reporting. Paris 2024 also left a little wiggle room in its plans for athletes and coaches to bring some comfort food from home. Up to 20% of the team's meals can come from outside France.
After the NC Courage's match against Racing Louisville, the team honored players from both teams that are playing in Paris at the Olympics.
And representing the United States, Casey Murphy.
The Courage have 5 players in the Olympics. Caroline for Brazil, Feely Rauch for Germany, and Casey Murphy for the U.S. were there last night. The list also includes Sydney Collins for Canada and Courtney Vine for Australia. Team USA Swimming took a break from training at the Triangle Aquatic Center in Cary to check out the game and support their fellow Olympians. Swimmers watched the Courage remain unbeaten at Wake Med Soccer Park. The Summer Olympics begin July 26th on WRAL. Our Liz McLaughlin will be in Paris bringing you live reports. So great to see athletes supporting one another there, no matter what the sport.
And they stuck it out through that rain. Also, you saw at the park last night as well. A lot of folks saw that around our area. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. As that storm sits over Houston, it looks like it's just swallowing the whole city there.
It really does. And a good chunk of the state as well, and drifting over toward Louisiana and on up north through Arkansas and up through Oklahoma as well. So it's really starting to disintegrate a little bit. However, it still has fairly strong winds, but notice how it's starting to get pulled apart a little bit. So all that tropical moisture is going to move right up the Mississippi Valley and create some very heavy rain, not just for Texas. Texas will see the worst of it for sure, but it will continue to produce a band of some heavy rain, which I'll show you in just a second. The noon advisory still had 70-mile-per-hour winds. That is really strong for it to be sitting over land. So over Houston with 70-mile-per-hour winds. Now, most likely at 1 o'clock, it will be downgraded a little bit more, maybe to 60-mile-per-hour winds. And by 8 o'clock, 45, 35 by tomorrow morning, and then 25 as it continues its trek on up toward the northeast. This is a look at the rain along its path from Houston all the way up to almost Illinois. We could see a path of 6 to 8 inches of rain. And boy, parts of this region have really already suffered from some flooding. The very dry weeks that we had in June were weeks where these folks were really getting just pelted by rain. All the rain that we should have seen coming through our area was stalled back to the west. So to add to this could cause some more problems for parts of the Midwest. Now, we'll see a low pressure system moving up the coast and helping to produce some rain for us. Hopefully it'll be a significant amount, looking at maybe as much as 1 to 3 inches with maybe some minor flooding, and that will continue to push up to the north. But we don't technically get barrels rain. What's going to happen by the end of the week is we'll see a trough that sets up. That's going to grab some of that tropical moisture and swing it our way. We'll see some heavy rain Thursday and Friday, and it will remain very humid, as we talked about closer to the beginning of the newscast. Let's check out what's happening right now. A little bit of activity, little cell just in the last 10 minutes started to pop up there in Hoke County and just west of Moore County. Other than that, we're quiet, but it won't be long before these start to pop up. I wouldn't expect any of these to be severe, but we will have the potential for just some isolated pop-up cells. Some of those could produce some brief heavy rain or some brief gusty winds, but they'll be isolated at best. Not everyone will see rain today, and that'll be the case again for Tuesday and Wednesday. We're going to be feeling the heat with a heat index high over the next few days as well. And then, of course, that heavy rain on Thursday and Friday. It already feels like 99 in Raleigh, Durham, and Goldsboro, as well as Clinton. Feels like 97 in Southern Pines, 97 in Rocky Mount. And we'll see that heat index right around 100. 40% chance of rain today, 30 on Tuesday, 40 Wednesday, but 70 on Thursday and 80 on Friday. And it is much needed rain. We take a look at how much we could see, and we'll push it ahead all the way into the end of the week. We could see anywhere from an inch to 2 to 2.5 inches. And again, we need that. We could get 1 to 3 across the viewing area. We need 3 to 6 to make up for the amount of rain that we missed seeing in the month of June. So we'll get a little bit of break in the temperatures too, 89 Thursday and 84 on Friday, but it still looks hot and humid for the weekend.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Airline tickets to Spain.
Check.
Passport.
Check.
Updated medical insurance.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, day one of the annual running of the bulls in Pamplona got underway, and it sent participants to the hospital. Zebulon, green grass there. Well, how do I get that? We need a little more rain before my hay is going to turn to grass again. We're pushing 90 out there in most parts of our viewing area right now. And as we wrap things up, we have a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today.
We're working to learn more about what caused the false alarm at Harris Nuclear Plant this morning. County and Duke Energy officials both say there was no emergency. And you probably received that public safety notice on your phone about the siren activation a little after 8:30 this morning. Officials say again it was a false alarm. They are working to determine why the alarms went off.
A man accused of murdering a couple in Franklinton earlier this year will be in court today. Police say William Hume and Matthew Johnson were shot and killed by their roommate, Christian Webster, at their home in April. Investigators say Webster shot the two men and then called 911. He's scheduled to appear in court this afternoon.
Durham police arrested a man accused of assaulting a woman on a Go Durham bus. Investigators say these surveillance pictures from the bus show Leandre Holman. He's accused of punching a woman on a bus on June 25th. Holman is charged with assault inflicting serious injury and assault on a female.
It is that time of year again where thrill seekers travel to Spain, not to visit iconic landmarks, but to test the strength of their heart and their agility. Hundreds of revelers tried to sprint down the narrow streets of Pamplona, Spain Sunday on the first day of the running of the bulls. At least 6 people were injured by the animals. 1 person was gored. The event lasts 8 days during the annual San Fermin festival.
Angel Reese dribbles her way into history. The Chicago Sky rookie notched her 13th consecutive double-double on Sunday against the Seattle Storm. Reese breaks the record held by WNBA legend Candace Parker for consecutive double-doubles across multiple seasons. Reese has picked up double-doubles in every game since June 4th.
Well, if you're making a quick trip to Target, you can leave your checkbook behind. Starting next Monday, the retailer will no longer accept personal checks. Target accepts several forms of payment, including Target Circle cards, cash, digital wallets, as well as SNAP and EBT. Customers can send personal checks by mail to Target Circle card payments.
Our pets of the day come to us from Love Mutt's Rescue. 5 puppies who may have had a Valentine birthday were rescued from a shelter. There is a big variety in looks. Some have Australian Shepherd, Smooth Fox Terrier, Beagle Hound, and Black